Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the major breaking news. We got our first look at Supergirl. Millie Alcock is in the suit. We need to break it down, so let's go ahead and get into today's video. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. So we got our first set photos for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I'm going to leave them linked in the description below. I'm not going to include them in this video just due to copyright reasons, but please be sure to pause the video right now, go to the link in the description below. You will see a bunch of videos and a bunch of set photos from above which give us our first look at Millie Alcock's Supergirl. So we need to break it down and talk about her suit and also the first look at a major character who is not Supergirl, who is also featured in the photos and videos. So let's go ahead and break this all down. So again, this is coming from Unbox PhD Film on Twitter. I'll leave a link in the description below so you guys can go see all of that. But also we're going to be breaking down the article from Screen Rant that they posted and another article from Superhero Hype, because I think they give some good context as to what is going on in these scenes. And my good friend Andy wrote the Screen Rant article, so definitely go check that out. So let's talk about this. So we got our first look at Supergirl. We can see her in her costume in the set photos. And you can see she's got the House of L emblem on her chest. The crest is literally the same as David Corenswet, so they are part of the same family and they've kept the same logo. They haven't changed it to be different or anything like that. So the colors are very traditional. You got the blue of the costume and the iconic red skirt and also the red boots, it looks like, as well as the red cape. It looks pretty much similar to what you would expect for a Supergirl suit. I would say the colors are very similar to Melissa Benoist's Supergirl on the CW. However, obviously the logo is the main difference. Also, she has the golden kind of belt that Supergirl normally wears and we've seen in the show as well. So I would say it's very comparable to the two. And now obviously this set photo and the set videos that have been posted are from very far away, so seeing the details on the suit is kind of hard to tell. So we're gonna have to wait until we get a closer look to see, is it actually similar, is the material similar, or is it a bit different? And I'm guessing with these leaks we're gonna get a first look at Supergirl, like a proper poster or an image of Supergirl sometime very soon, because I don't think they were expecting this to come out. And with that in mind, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a similar thing to what they did with David Corenswet's Superman. And I would probably be expecting a first look at Supergirl in the next couple of days. And just like in Andy's article, I completely agree what he says next. He says, given that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is adapting the comic of the same name, it's not a huge surprise that the set photo is revealing what appears to be a very comic book accurate version of the suit, which is completely true. If you look at it just from afar, you can see it looks very similar to the suit in the comics, and the coloring is literally the same. Maybe the belt could be a little bit different. I can't really tell from so far away if it's the kind of bigger belt that Supergirl has in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, or if it's kind of like the more traditional slimmer golden belt that she has around her waist. But he continues by saying, from the key characters that have already joined the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow cast, even though they have not been spotted yet, to Alcock's suit, it's clear that they intend to keep the DCU adaptation as closely to the book as possible. And now let's talk about the scene that they're shooting. So she appears to be on a military vehicle or some sort of tank, and it seems she is in space because most of this film is set in space, so it's some sort of like cosmic alien military truck. And so she comes out of this tank at one point. That's just what we're going to call it from now on, because I think it's some sort of an alien tank, and she's defeated whoever is controlling this tank. She comes out of the tank and she basically just walks away. But then there is a later scene that was shot and we get our first look at Jason Momoa's Lobo, who was spotted on set facing off against Supergirl. So again, that's in a link in the description below. You guys can go check it out. And so Lobo is seen on set. He is on top of the military truck. So whatever planet they're on, obviously there's going to be CGI in the background and it's going to look very different from what you're seeing just on the set, because as we've talked about previously, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is all set in space, and they're definitely going to be just creating those worlds, and they're obviously filming on set for the most point. But anyway, so Jason Momoa is there, and he is standing off against Millie Alcock's Supergirl. They look great side by side, and you can see him wielding some sort of an axe. Now, in the comics, Lobo doesn't normally have an axe. He normally has this kind of chained hook weapon. That's just what everyone has described it as. And it doesn't look like that's what he's holding. He's definitely holding some sort of like double-edged axe, and it looks like a pretty deadly weapon, to be honest. And obviously, we've talked about Lobo before. He's not in the comic book, so this is an addition to the film. So they're allowed to make changes, and obviously the weapon seems to be, yeah, they've changed it for the film, have an axe rather than like a chained hook weapon that's probably going to be like harder to actually shoot in real life. And having someone swing with an axe is, I guess, a lot easier. But let's talk about his appearance, because obviously you can see him side by side with Supergirl. And Supergirl obviously is there. She's just like ready to attack him. They're obviously enemies in this, and they are facing off against each other. There's a bunch of blue screen in the background. They're on top of the tank. And Jason Momoa's Lobo looks very comic accurate. As far as I can see from far away, in the comics, Lobo has kind of this grayish, silvery skin, and it seems he's got that in the film, so he's going to look very similar to Lobo in the comics. But as far as I can tell from the footage, it looks like he's got some sort of armor over his kind of chest area, his shoulders, and he's also got some sort of gauntlets on his hands. And I can't really tell with his legs, but it looks like he's got armor as well. So he's very armored up. He is prepared for battle. It seems he is the same kind of warrior, the bounty hunter that we know from the comics. So with everything that we're seeing here, I'm gotta say, I'm really, really happy with this. Like, they both look really good. They look comic accurate as far as I can tell from far away. And they are facing off against each other in what looks like some other planet out there in space, and this is just going to be one of the big scenes. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of how big Lobo is going to be in this film. Is he going to be actually a major character, or is he just going to be in it for a few scenes? Well, they've gone full out with his actual look. So with that in mind, you would have to imagine maybe he's going to play a decent part in this film. But I do wonder, when I'm looking at him and I'm thinking about what he's like in the comics and what Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is actually like, is he going to team up with Krem? Like, Krem is the main villain of the Woman of Tomorrow comic, and Krem is kind of like a loner, right? He is this killer, he's ruthless, doesn't really work with anyone, so why would he work with Lobo? So does Lobo come in at a different point? Does Lobo somehow help Supergirl? Maybe they get into a couple of fights first, and then they manage to get him on their side, maybe for a bounty. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think about that? Do you think Lobo could potentially help out Supergirl by the end, despite him more traditionally being a kind of villainous character, but he is a bounty hunter at the end of the day? So let's just quickly go back to the Supergirl suit, because we've got to talk more about this. So I'm really happy with the way that everything is looking. Let's talk about her cape a little bit. So in the set photos and the set videos, her cape is pretty long. It's not all the way to the ground, but it's kind of like a normal length. It's similar to Melissa's length. And I can't really tell if she's got the yellow House of El crest on the back of her cape, but as far as I can see, possibly she has it, but her hair is quite long, so it's kind of disguised by her blonde hair, which is literally probably covering the exact area that it is. But I can kind of make out a shape, but I could be seeing wrong. Let me know down in the comments below, do you think she has the House of El crest on the back of her cape, just like David Corenswet's Superman has? And as I've said to you guys, I'm expecting some sort of proper good look at Supergirl in the next week or so. It could be in the next few days, it could be longer than that. It depends how big they think this leak is. If they think this leak is huge, obviously they will release something sooner, but it's not a perfectly crystal clear look. So I can actually see James Gunn waiting and holding off, because this is just one person that's been able to get some footage from a mile away, like a long way away, and they've just like fully zoomed in. So I'm not sure how big of a deal James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to make of this. But yeah, that's our first look at Supergirl. Obviously, I'm really excited for the Supergirl movie. I can't wait for it. I'm a big Supergirl fan. I think this film is going to be great. I actually love the comic book Woman of Tomorrow. I think it's great. I read it when it came out, and I just couldn't believe that they were actually making it, because yeah, I'm a big fan of it. So really looking forward to all of this. Obviously we're going to have lots more coverage on the channel over the next weeks and months and year until we get Supergirl in the summer of 2026. So for now, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, and subscribe and turn on notifications if you're new around here. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.